Yo, what's up, guys? It's Trey. Got another video for you guys. It is currently 7:26 p.m. Just got off of another long work day, and I feel like a lot of people wouldn't agree with this, but I feel like this is something that people talk about a lot, but not a lot of people will actually act on. And this is something that I struggled with for a long time, and then after I grew within it, and then that's when I seen an actual difference in my life. And if you want to see a difference in your life, I would recommend that you start doing this today, tonight, right now, whatever time it is for you, right now. Before I get too deep into it, I always struggled with this from the age of 15, I'd say, to I don't even know. Honestly, no. I don't even think it was that later on. I feel like it was earlier on. I feel like I struggled with it as a kid up until when I became a teenager, and it's also something I'm still trying to work through, but it's not as bad as it used to. It is being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and as you can probably tell, that sentence has a double-edged sword to it. You're telling me that I need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Yes, that is exactly what I'm telling you to do. And let me tell you why I feel like this is such a not underrated thing, but something that people that don't really explain in a way to where it can make sense to someone. I'm gonna give y'all an analogy. I was around 15, starting in sales, starting my own business, whatever. I started a reselling company where I was just mainly reselling AirPods, AirPod Maxes, Apple products overall, and some other things on Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Snapchat, Instagram, all those type of social medias, right? I was so uncomfortable showing my face on my content to where I couldn't scale that business past $5,000, $6,000 a month because I wasn't avoiding putting myself out there. Grow a personal brand. Honestly, if I grew a personal brand at like 15, 16, I would be in a whole different place in my life. And that's not saying that I don't like where I'm at right now, but it's just saying like that puts it in perspective. Something as small as just being okay with being on camera like I am right now could have changed the trajectory of my current timeline in my life. And that's crazy, is it not? And I feel like once you learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, that's when you see a flip. That's when you see a flip in the switch. And a lot of people aren't really gonna like the idea of being uncomfortable, right? I've seen so many people. I had a couple of people that I was friends with, right? They were like, "Oh, I want to start video editing. Can you teach me how to video edit? Can you I want to start content. Can you teach me how to make content? I want to start my own business. Can you teach me how to make my own business?" Right? And then tomorrow rolls around and they're no longer motivated on it. They were, yeah, like I want to do it, but, and then start giving me all these BS excuses of how they can't do it now, right? And it's just that uncomfortable factor. I'm not gonna lie, being uncomfortable is uncomfortable if you would believe it. And I'm uncomfortable on this video right now. But that has not stopped me from not being on this video. I'm on this video right now, creating it for you guys right here in this second. 7:30 p.m. making a video, being uncomfortable, diving deeper into me being uncomfortable, right? And that's really where people forget that to get to where you want to go in life, you need to have a sense of no direction going into the unknown, right? And we don't have to get really spiritual, right? But this is something that I learned a long time ago that kind of got me into entrepreneurship and kind of got me deeper into it, is just understanding that no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, or no matter how much research you do, there is always going to be an unknown factor in there to where you may start in sales, you may watch a bunch of videos in sales, but that is totally different than going up to someone's door and knocking on their door at 3 o'clock, right? Those are two different things, two different actions, two different types of paths. To where this is you just consuming content, and this is you putting that into flourish, putting that into action. Those are two different things. And I feel like so many people don't really realize that whenever they're watching these videos or like researching the thing of like you're not really being uncomfortable. You're just getting yourself to where you think you're comfortable, and then once you start doing the thing, you're always gonna be like, oh well, I didn't like how I did this, I didn't like how I did that. You just always start to second guess yourself, and then you second guess yourself out of doing the thing that you thought that you wanted to do. I can say it, I can be the first one to say it. I started content at 15, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. I was a big Fortnite guy, right? I was a big fucking loser playing Fortnite for hours on end, right? 12 to 13 hours grinding. Of course, I made money off of Fortnite, but it was like a thing of like, I didn't have a sense of direction in my life, right? I was posting content. I never showed my face, not even once for the first 2 years of me doing content. And then I showed my face for the first time. This is around the time whenever I was wanting to go pro and or semi-pro in Rainbow Six Siege, for example. I still love that game. I know it's going to crap, is what I hear, but it's a thing of I always have been making content, but I've never stuck with it to a point to where I can grow an actual personal brand because I was always uncomfortable. Always uncomfortable. Didn't really have any sense of direction in my life. And that will honestly roll into my other point of you need a sense of why, a sense of what you're doing, what you're going to do it for, and then a sense of direction of how you want to take it. Of course, I'm thinking about monetizing this, turning it into a potential income, right? But at the same time, I have a purpose. I want to create content to inspire other people, and that is my main goal with content. That's why I started doing content in the first place. That's why I started doing it in the first place. I wanted to inspire. I didn't want to live mediocrely in a 9 to 5. Of course, there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. If it works for you, it works for you. For the rest of your life, that works for you. It doesn't work for me though. So while we're on the topic, I knew that creating content was going to be my number one differentiator between being mediocre and being successful. And I just never did it. That's why I'm not as successful as I could have been. I'm not saying I'm not successful at all. I live on my own. I live in a different state. I pay my own bills, like whatever. Like all of that is great, and I can manage my life. I make pretty good money. But it would be in a whole different ball game if I would have started and kept going. But I was too comfortable in my situation. I was too comfortable working, a comfortable paycheck. I was too comfortable not being comfortable. I mean, I was too comfortable not being comfortable to where I never had this growth in my mind and my frontal lobe to just start posting regardless of what's going on in my life. And I feel like if I would have did that earlier, whole different story. Too comfortable with my job, too comfortable with where I was at, and that essentially killed the dreams. I sacrificed my dreams by doing that. I was actually just watching this video not too long ago before I started this video, and it was I forgot who he said this quote, but if you're not willing to sacrifice things for your dreams, then you're sacrificing your dreams. If you're not willing to sacrifice being uncomfortable for about a year to have 5 to 10 to 20, 30 years of comfortability, you're an idiot, right? And I'm risking that right now. 1 year of uncomfortability to build out my personal brand and build a brand. Build a personal brand. This is what this is for. And if I would have had this same thing earlier, I would have been in a whole different state in life. Just to put that in perspective for you guys. But yeah, I really wanted to talk about that. That was one of the main things I wanted to talk about. And then we're going to be recording a bunch of videos. Like I'm planning on posting once a day on the YouTube and then putting out some short form content on YouTube and TikTok. That's my plan. And I'm going to hold myself accountable because I know if I spend a year straight for the rest of 2026 from today all the way to December, I know that I will have something to show for it, even if it's just one brand deal, 2 brand deals that pay rent, right? And that's the whole goal of this, is to build something long term. But don't want to talk y'all heads off too much longer. Want to get into the next videos. I want to get to editing. I want to get to this. I want to get to that. I'm on it right now, and I really want to get deeper. Okay, so I'll catch y'all on the next video within 5 minutes. Well, of me recording it at least.